You know what that sound means? I know what that sound means. Do you know what that sound means? I know what that means. That means we're recording and we're live on YouTube. Live for us, probably a day after for you, but that's okay. We're here once again, TFP Nation, your Fantasizers podcast crew. A little shorthanded, but it's the NFL Draft Special, so it's yours truly, the Goatee Guru, and our betting expert, Brandon Lee. Brandon Lee, how you doing tonight?
Oh, buddy, I'm living life to the fullest.
Well, that's what we like to hear. I think that's what we like to hear. So, Brandon Lee, we went through some prospect rankings last time, and we did our middle 10 picks of the mock draft, the alternating mock draft that we've been doing. But I think I could be mistaken unless we've added more teams. I think our next 12 picks, our final 12 picks of the first round, are what we have up tonight.
Yeah. So I did carry the one. It is 12 picks. Yes.
It is 12. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Math can be difficult sometimes. So that makes sense. Well, Brandon, I'm going to do a quick recap of our first 20 picks. And as always, we're going to hear that sound every time somebody makes a selection later on. So we're going to start from the top. From part one, Brandon Dean had all the odd picks. So he started with the Jacksonville Jaguars on number one, and he took the I want to say polished, but not overly athletic Aiden Hutchinson, number one, probably the number one pick in the draft. I think most people would agree he's probably the consensus number one. Then the Detroit Lions took Trayvon Walker, which could be a little bit of a surprise, but I think his leadership and his character pushes him up the board. And he'll be more talented in the NFL, or more productive in the NFL, I think, than he was in college. Number three, the ultra talented Kyle Hamilton. Only concern about him is he doesn't run fast, but we talked that one up and down, and we both agree. I think that's a good pick for Houston. The New York Jets take the stud man-to-man corner who never gave up a touchdown in college when he was covering the receiver. When he was the closest receiver or closest corner, receiver never scored on him. That went to the New York Jets at 4. New York Giants went with Ike Ekwonu, the offensive tackle from NC State, big monster mauler. Carolina Panthers took their future franchise quarterback in Malik Willis, who both Brandon Lee and I agree has the most upside in this draft. Maybe not the most pro ready, but we think he has the highest ceiling of any quarterback in this draft. Number 7, the Giants took Kayvon Thibodeau, who could be a steal at that spot. The only thing is, he does take some plays off, and we got to figure out, does he love the game is enough, or does he just love what the game does for him? So I think we'll find that out on draft day. If he slides a little bit, I think that's going to be the concern. Number 8 was the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons took Garrett Wilson, wide receiver from Ohio State. Very talented. I actually saw Daniel Jeremiah has him in his top 5 for best prospects in this draft. So good pick by Atlanta. They definitely need a weapon on the outside to go along with Kyle Pitts and Cordero Patterson. Excuse me, I got something in my throat. That's why I keep clearing my throat. Seattle. I'm trying. I think the more I talk, the more it'll go. But so far no bueno. Number 9 was those stupid Sea Chickens up in Seattle. They took Jermaine Johnson II, athletic Florida State pass rusher. Needs to refine his pass rushing skills a little bit, but we know he's uber athletic and was beating college tackles like it was his job, which it was. But now he's going to get paid for real to go hunt quarterbacks like Kyler Murray, Trey Lance, and Matt Stafford up in the NFC West. Number 10 was the New York Jets. They took Evan Neal, who I think they would jump for joy if he was still there at number 10. Arguably a top 5 pick. big offensive tackle from Alabama. Versatile, can play four positions along the offensive line. Washington Commanders, with their first selection in their Commanders era, take Devin Lloyd, linebacker from Utah. Question, you don't really know where Lloyd's going to go. I've seen anywhere from 9 to 28. So I mean, he could fall anywhere in there, and Washington's probably the first sweet spot for him. Number 12, the Minnesota Vikings, Derek Stingley, cornerback from LSU, had a hell of a pro day. Great freshman year in 2019, and we'll see what happens in Minnesota. They've been looking for a number 1 corner for a while, and he could be the guy. Number 13, Houston gets their second pick of the first round. They took Charles Cross, the offensive tackle, left tackle from Mississippi State. Likely Laramie Tunsil moves on, and Cross will be the guy that replaces him. Baltimore Ravens took the monstrosity from Georgia, Jordan Davis, big old run stuffer, and just get them back to Baltimore football, where running the ball up the middle against the Ravens defense is something that you fear, and this guy can do it for sure. Philadelphia Eagles, with their first pick that they acquired, this is the first pick that they had from Miami originally. They took Trent McDuffie, the corner from Washington, a little undersized, but versatile, can play inside, outside, and he's ultra talented, very competitive too. Number 16, the New Orleans Saints, who traded up with the Philadelphia Eagles, selected Trevor Penning, offensive tackle from Northern Iowa, grabbed an offensive lineman to replace the recently departed, that sounded bad. That sounds like he died. I'm sorry. The recently departed for Miami offensive tackle, Teron Armstead.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, hit for his career probably. Number 17, Los Angeles Chargers took Jameson Williams, super speedy. God, that would be a scary addition to that offense. 18, back-to-back receivers, Chris Olave to the Philadelphia Eagles. 19 was the Saints' second pick. They took Kenny Pickett. A lot of people probably would have expected them to take him there at 16, but they decided to get their protection for him first. And then pick 20, the last pick we've made so far, was the Pittsburgh Steelers. Chose not to go with a quarterback. They went and beefed up that defensive line with the very solid Devontae Wyatt from Georgia. So all that to get us to where we left off. Pick 21 belonging to the New England Patriots and Brandon Dean. You, sir, are on the clock.
Oh, I've been on the clock.
Oh, you've been on the clock for a week, yes.
The New England Patriots have been on this clock. And now I don't know if you recall, but there was a snowstorm, so the power went out. So they were on the clock for a very long time. So they've known for a while who they're going to pick. But first, before I get into that, how you doing? Do you need to catch your breath after all that?
That was quite a long montage. Yeah, sure. We'll say montage. Monologue. There you go. Yep. Hey, usually I'm the one correcting you, and I appreciate that now you're doing it to me. So that's great.
I'm drinking water today. That's why.
Yeah, Yingling. So
I don't have the Busch lattes flowing through.
That's true. I do not have Busch lattes, so the mine's not quite right, but that's all right. So, it was quite a long monologue, and now I do think I finally got that thing out of my throat. That's good. That's good, right? Good. For the rest of the show. But
I was gonna offer my shop vac. There it is.
Yeah, there we go. Now we got it.
All right. So all of that stalling allowed me to actually come up with the pick here. So New England Patriots, the pick is in. And to start us off for today, but to continue on with the 21st pick, the New England Patriots will select George Karlaftis.
George Karlaftis, very high motor player, good edge player, pretty solid against the run, gets after the passer, even though he didn't bring the quarterback down very often in college. He provided a lot of pressure, and I think that's going to translate to the NFL into sacks, playing against better defensive linemen beside him, and then also just getting into professional coaching and allowing him to really unlock his tools. I think he's going to be very much like I said with Trayvon Walker. I think he's going to be better at the NFL level than he was in college.
I definitely agree. And he's durable, from looking all the way back to his freshman year where he averaged 70 snaps a game in his freshman year, and then all the way up to, I think I saw something about him playing, I want to say it was 59 downs or 49 downs maybe. Last year, all in all but one game. So, I mean, he's durable. He's there. He makes plays. He could be real scary in New England.
Man's an Iron Man. Gotta like it. Gotta like it. No, I like that pick. New England. Give him to Bill Belichick. He's gonna be scary for sure. I agree. Well, that's gonna bring us to the next pick number 22, which is the first pick in the 20s for the Green Bay Packers. They lost Davante Adams in the offseason, which was obviously pretty detrimental. They lost MBS, and they lost. They just lost a lot of offensive weaponry. So I definitely think that they need to restock, retool there. I saw that they brought in Sammy Watkins, I believe it was, and I don't think that's anything too scary. So Green Bay Packers, they look at what's available. They probably would have loved to have Jameson Williams. They've talked all offseason about trying to add more speed to the locker room. And clearly, I mean, that's a guy that could do that for you. But when I look around at what's available, there's one guy that kind of stands out to me, and I think could be the Packers version of a Deebo Samuel, actually. So with that, the pick is in. Excuse me.
You liked the pick so much you played it.
I liked it so much I was going to play it a few times. Let's do it again. Pick 22, the Green Bay Packers select Treylon Burks from Arkansas, wide receiver. Treylon Burks, to me, he's built very similar to Deebo. He's versatile in the sense that you can use him in a lot of ways. You can use him as a traditional receiver. You can throw him screens. You can use him in the backfield. You can use him on reverses, jet sweeps, and all that. And Matt LaFleur is from, the Kyle Shanahan tree. So he definitely understands how to use the run game to open up everything else. And I think Treylon Burks is a perfect tool to be able to complement what they do offensively in the run and the pass and take a little pressure off of Aaron Rodgers. He is getting older. He's not going to be, you can't put all the weight on him for years to come, and maybe this is his last year. Maybe things don't work out and he ends up leaving. But this Treylon Burks is a building block for that offense. You got to retool, and I think he's the best guy on the board.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. In a way, I think with the position, I think it's smart. I think they go a different guy. I can definitely see that though. I can see that pick being made, but I think they take a different player at that position if they go that way, I should say.
Well, that's why we do these things, right?
That's right.
And that kind of is a good segue into a reminder for all of our listeners. Next week, the day before the NFL draft, on Wednesday the 27th, we are going to record our big, monstrous, super promoted, only being promoted by my voice right now, super promoted draft special. And when I say that, I mean our full draft special, not these segmented ones. where we are going to each provide our mock drafts, give our insight into some hidden draft gems, some guys that we think might be busts, and so much more. So join us next week for the entirety of our draft special and the lead up to the first pick on Thursday.
It's going to be exciting. I'm telling you. A lot of different things that's going to go on. We like this one because you don't know who's going to get taken at where, and then the other mock drafts that we're doing separately, you can kind of create throughout. But I think you're gonna learn some insight on some of these guys that maybe you didn't think about before.
Yep, and we'll talk about. We'll also be talking about where we think some trades may happen in the first round, and some of the people that are current NFL players that may be on the move during the draft. So join us then. It's going to be a lot of fun. But we still got picks to make today. So in this alternating draft, the pick 23 of the first round is on the clock. That is the Arizona Cardinals. Brandon Dean, what are the Cardinals doing?
Oh, they're going to draft.
But what about now?
Oh. Sorry about that. No, they are curious, and they have a lot of positions to fill. They still have a quarterback in their organization who's not real happy. And I don't know if they're going to go in that route to make them happy or make him happy. Are they going to move on from him in a year or two? Seeing what's left on the board now, I can tell you this position that I'm going to take with them was not one that I was going to go with early on, but the way that the board fell and what's left out there, I feel like they kind of have to go with this pick. He's out there. He's a good pick, best at his position. And I think you got to give Kyler Murray a little bit of protection. So the pick is in for the Arizona Cardinals, and they will select big old center from Iowa, Taylor Linderbaum.
Tyler Linderbaum from Iowa, stud. We know what Iowa does. They produce offensive linemen like it's their job, and they've been doing it for a long time. Marshall Yanda, James Daniels. I mean, just to name a couple guys that have been solid players from there. Marshall Yanda is a Hall of Fame caliber player, but yeah, they produce really good players. Linderbaum, I can definitely see it. Rodney Hudson's getting older. They could use Linderbaum at guard while Hudson's still there, and then slide him over and have a seamless change on that offensive line. So, no, I like the pick. Not really where I thought you were going. Kind of changed my plans for one of my picks coming up, but that's okay. That's why we do these things. So, Linderbaum off the board to the Arizona Cardinals, protecting their currently their valued asset in Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I mean there was two picks that I was looking at there, but I think just based off of how the board fell, you gotta kind of at that point go with the best one that's available, and I think that was your best pick available with the needs that they have, I should say.
I won't argue it. It's if you have a player on the board that you know is going to be a star, even if it's not a sexy pick because it's an offensive lineman, Linderbaum's going to be good, and he's agile, and he can move in that offensive line, which Arizona likes to do. Get their linemen out in front on screen plays and things like that. So, no, I think that's a good pick. So that's going to bring us to pick 24, which belongs to the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah,
the Dallas Cowboys. Yep, who got beat by the 49ers in the playoffs. In case everybody forgot. So,
lead the playoffs.
So Dallas, there's a few different things they could use some retooling on that offensive line, kind of reestablish that run game, that power run game that they like, and have had a lot of success with in recent years. Could use probably another receiver. However, I don't think they will be looking at that in the first round. Probably look to address that in the second or third. They did bring Michael Gallup back, and he may not be fully healthy to start the season. It's going to be close, but they have CeeDee Lamb, and I'm sure that they're comfortable enough with those two guys and adding another player later on in the draft. But right now they're going to try to shore up that defense a little bit. Okay, that defense, there's some weaknesses. We know Trayvon Diggs is a very good player, but he is very, very aggressive and easily gets burned sometimes because of it. He gets too aggressive. We know Micah Parsons was a beast for them last year, and they kind of played him, out of position. Because of the lack of pass rush, they played him on the defensive line a lot, right? So, and he was very successful on the defensive line. So looking at this, I think Dallas says, you know what? Maybe the best position for Micah Parsons is on the defensive line, getting after the quarterback, and we don't have to play him at linebacker unless, needed due to injuries or whatever else. So let's shore up that linebacker position, and with that, the pick is in, I think. The Dallas Cowboys at pick number 24 in the first round select Nakobe Dean from Georgia. Nakobe Dean is a stud, sideline to sideline defender, can stick his nose in the run game. Even better playing in pass coverage. There's some worry that maybe his production was due to the fact that he had 3 monster first round picks in front of him. That being Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt, and Trayvon Walker. But I've watched this kid. I think he's a baller, and yeah, you got to keep him clean because he is a little undersized and can get caught up in the traffic a little bit. But he's got exceptional instincts, and you can't teach that. I think he's going to be a player in the NFL that's going to be very successful, and Dallas has the line to keep him clean. They have the edge rushers that you gotta account for him. So Nakobe should be able to just fly around the ball field and make tackles.
Yeah, I agree. I love everything about his play. He is a little short, a little small, but even if they keep Parsons in the linebacker position, like just bouncing him around and having Dean just fill in at that spot, it's going to be scary to see for sure. He breaks down, makes good tackles. Yeah, he may have had help with that defensive line, but he can get dirty with the best of them. So he's gonna break down, stop that run, and he's not terrible in the coverage either. So no. I think he'll be. I think that's a good pick for the Cowboys.
Yeah, and a lot of people want to
freaking hate it, but I think it's a good pick.
A lot of people want to compare him to Roquan Smith, and that's just simply tying the Georgia linebackers together. They're very different players, but Nakobe Dean and Roquan Smith both are extremely talented at what they do, and I don't want to. I think it's not fair. I don't think it's fair to compare them because they are very different in the way that they play. But I think they're both going to be very successful, as we've seen. Roquan has been very good in the NFL. I think Nakobe Dean's got a chance to be just as good. So, next up on the board, pick number 25, belonging to the Buffalo Bills. And Josh Allen is looking for help on one of the sides of the ball. I don't know if it's offense or defense. We're about to find out. Brandon Lee, what do you got?
Well, I go back to the Bills against the Chiefs. And all we needed was a shootout, who could score the most points, right? But if you really look at it, it should have been not who can score the most points. It should have been who can get the first stop. Right? And that's
championships.
Right. Otherwise, this thing, it came down to what it came down to. Just whoever had the ball last with no time left on the clock, or in this case, only one possession in the overtime, which has changed, which that's a whole different ball game there. But I think in order to help Josh Allen in that game get past the Kansas City Chiefs and move on, you got to make the stop. So with that, the pick is in. The Buffalo Bills will build that interior line, and they're going to take Travis Jones.
Travis Jones. Okay. That's a good pick. Not where I thought you were going there, to be honest with you. But I can't argue it. Solid player. Good, really good at shooting gaps. I think he's probably going to be better against the run early on in his career than he is at pushing the pocket. But if Buffalo can take away the run game and force you to throw with a healthy Tre'Davious White coming back, I think that's what they want you to do. They want you to test their corners and those very talented safeties that they have. So no, I mean, I get it. I get the pick. It's not where I thought you were going to go. I'll be honest, but that's why we do this thing. It's it makes you think, because you're not ready for somebody to go off the board where they did.
Sounds like a lot of stalling on your end.
Not a lot of stalling. I that was more so me trying to figure out how to type this in because my Excel sheet was freezing up on me. So, all right.
I just go to old-fashioned pen and paper, buddy. Well,
fair enough.
It's a pen.
Fair enough. All right. Well, the Bills take Travis Jones, continue to build what is a very ferocious defensive line, adding Von Miller in the offseason. They have Ed Oliver still, and there's just a lot of good players on that team. So I think it's a good pick. Not where I expected, but good pick. 26. Next pick up on the clock, the Tennessee Titans. And the Titans could go a few different ways here. They could go offensive line. Could use some help there. Lawan's been banged up. They could use a tackle on the other side. I don't think that's where they go here, though. I don't. When I look at the Tennessee Titans, yeah, they could go interior offensive line and they could just pound the ball down your throat with Derrick Henry. Again, I don't think that's where they go. What I think they do here is they pound the ball down your throat, but they pound the ball down your throat with a two-headed monster. And with that, the pick is in.
Oh, boy.
With pick number 26 in the 2022 alternating mock draft TFP Nation style, the Tennessee Titans select Breece Hall.
Whoa.
Iowa State running back.
Not who I thought you were going to go with, but I can't deny. It's a lot of positions you could go on that team. I mean, that is scary, though, when you think about it. Derrick Henry with Breece Hall coming in on the breathers, Well,
that's the thing. Tennessee's been looking for a guy that can spell Henry for quite some time. And, Deontay Foreman did an okay job of it last year, but they drafted Darrington Evans. That didn't work out. They've been trying to find that 1-2 punch. They who was it that they brought in a while? Oh my goodness, guy that played for the Giants at one, Dion Lewis. They had Dion Lewis. There was just a bunch of guys they've tried and it just didn't work out. But Breece Hall, I think if you spend that draft capital to get him, you're going to find out you have a very talented player. Could be a lead back someday, but in a rotation, he is going to be terrifying. And he provides some ability out of the backfield with his hands. He's good in space. He's powerful up the middle. He finishes his runs. And I think, you see Derrick Henry go off the field, and normally you're like, oh, thank God. I don't think they're doing that with this guy trotting on. So that's where I'm going. Titans, Brees Hall.
That's right. It doesn't keep the ball in Tannehill's hands either. He can go back to not having to do too much, not having to sling it around so much. He can hand it off. Oh, crap, Derrick Henry's not there. Well, I still got somebody else to hand it off. Even though I will say Tannehill did a pretty good job this year, and the Titans' offense in general looked pretty good even without Derrick Henry. So I think adding another weapon is just going to be scary. The AFC would be scary.
Yeah, and that's what the Titans do. They play good defense and they run the ball. They control the clock. They don't turn the ball over much. That's their style, and this just kind of sticks with that. So that's where I think they go. So the next pick on the clock is number 27, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They got the GOAT back for at least one more year. Did make a coaching change with Arians going retiring. Well, not retiring, but stepping down and taking a spot in the front office. So Todd Bowles, who was the former coach of the Jets, been a longtime defensive coordinator. They have experience. They got good talent there. A lot of guys came back, but there's some holes. And Brandon Lee, I want to see you fill one here.
Careful what you wish for. But Tampa Bay does have holes. A little bit on the offensive side, a little bit on the defensive side. You don't know where they're going to go for this. I love the mystery behind this pick because I don't think they fill any one of those holes. I think that they go elsewhere and fill something that's not exactly set in stone right now. Another, I wouldn't say hole because they have potential to keep that spot open. The pick is in, my friend. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with all of the confusion behind Rob Gronkowski, will be taking tight end Trey McBride.
Trey McBride. So for the listeners, we do not talk about this beforehand. Okay, so this I'm not kidding you when I say we don't know where we're going with these picks. Okay, this is right off the cuff. However, we did do a practice one of these a while back just to kind of get a feel on how we would go about it on the podcast. And Brandon Lee took Trey McBride with Tampa Bay, and I really thought it was going to change this time. I really thought he was going to go a different direction. He threw me for a loop then. He threw me for a loop now. I definitely could see it. It wouldn't surprise me if Trey McBride found his way into the first round. I will be shocked on draft day if it happens. Not that it's a bad pick. I don't think that's where they're going to go is all.
That's fair enough. I think it depends on what happens this coming week. Does Rob Gronkowski come back? Does he commit to a full year? But even if he doesn't, or even if he does commit to a full year, I still think they don't really have anything after him. And how flaky is he? Is he going to be another 2 years play with Tom just until Tom's done, or is he just one and done kind of thing? Not to mention he's injury prone.
I'm not gonna argue it because I know that every year you have a guy that maybe most aren't thinking is going to be a first round pick, and you have him in there, and a lot of times that guy does show up in the first round. I mean, most notably it was probably your pick. I'm blanking on his name right now, but the safety / linebacker that played for Arizona,
Deone Bucannon.
Yes, Deone Bucannon. Yep, I had him as a third round pick in my rankings, and Brandon all day long kept saying, nope, Deone Bucannon's a first round pick. He's going to be a first round pick, and most certainly was to the Arizona Cardinals. So, and he had a pretty productive career, not stellar but productive. So, yeah, I can't bet against you. I've seen it happen too many times.
It's a shot in the dark, but I really like it. So
I
I think that's the draft in general, right? It's a shot in the dark. They're all just blindfolded shooting darts at pictures. Like, well, that'll do.
Yeah, to a point. I mean, yeah, that's exactly what it is. So, so that's going to take us to pick number 28, which is the Green Bay Packers' second selection of the first round. They took Treylon Burks back at number 22. They definitely could go receiver again here. For the sake of variety, I'm not going to do that because I don't think that's where they're going to go on draft day. It wouldn't surprise me one bit to see it, but I don't think that's what they're going to do.
That would definitely change things for Aaron Rodgers starting to be like, oh, yeah, no, they drafted a quarterback. You kidding me? To 2 wide receivers? Let's go.
Yeah. And I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it. I definitely would not be surprised. Like I said, I just don't think it's the direction that they go. But they do try to make Aaron Rodgers happy. They do try to make Aaron Rodgers happy here. Okay. And with that, the pick is in. With the 28th pick, the Green Bay Packers select Kenyon Green, the offensive guard from Texas A&M.
Kenyon Green. See, I had a feeling that's where you were going, was offensive line, not the player that I thought you were going, not the exact position on the line either. But I mean, I can't argue it. I think Rodgers is going to be ecstatic either way. But man, that's going to solidify a line that will keep that old man healthy, hopefully.
Yeah, and I kind of identified, what do the Packers like to do? I mean, obviously they do run the ball and try to use play action, but ultimately right now, still with Aaron Rodgers there, this team, they throw the ball. They move the ball through the air. That's how they have a lot of success. Against weaker defenses, they will pound the ball down your throat. But when push comes to shove, they like to throw the ball. And the Green Bay Packers, you want to keep Aaron Rodgers happy. You got him a wide receiver. Now you get him some protection. It came down to, like I said, I identified offensive guard as the position I wanted for them. And it came down to Kenyon Green and another offensive guard. The reason I lean towards Green is because of his pass protection. The other guy that may hear his name come off the board here soon, he's more of a run mauler. So I think they would look at Green probably more just because of his ability to protect Rodgers, who, he's aging and doesn't move quite as well as he used to. Still moves all right, but not going to outrun some of these edge rushers anymore.
No, definitely not. And he's going to get his little happy dance in the pocket and, jump in the air and throw with no feet on the floor. But
he also doesn't have Devontae Adams to just throw the ball up to anymore.
Exactly. He's not going to be able to just huck and chuck, and he's going to have to get creative a little bit, which he can do. He's a good improviser. As much as I don't like the guy, sorry, Aaron, but as much as I don't like the guy, he is good. I can't deny it.
Yeah. Well, that's going to bring us, we're down to the last 4 picks of this. And it's going to bring us to pick number 29, which is the first of back-to-back picks for the Kansas City Chiefs. So you hold all the cards here for what I do at pick 30. This will be interesting.
Oh, man. Now, this is going to be a fun pick. There are some needs on the defensive side of this football. Really bad. Okay? They need some help in the coverage. They need some help on that defensive line. They could use some help on the defensive side of the football. Again, similar to what the Buffalo Bills had to do, right? You just had to stop one of them. Okay, neither team could stop them. They're gonna come up head-to-head again. It's gonna happen. They're the 2 powerhouses in the AFC right now. They're gonna come up head-to-head again. It's not where they're going though, because Andy Reid is an offensive guy, and he's sitting over there. He put his Philly cheesesteak down. Didn't even grab a napkin yet to pick up the phone because the pick is in.
The pick is in. Philly cheesesteak makes it onto the podcast. I love it.
The Kansas City Chiefs are replacing Tyreek Hill with wide receiver Sky Moore.
Sky Moore. Okay. That is a fun pick because that's not where I expected you to go. But you know what? I definitely I would not even for a minute. I would not even for a minute argue that pick. That is a very Kansas City esque pick. So um I could definitely see it. Sky Moore, got some speed, a little smaller. Uh Kansas City likes those smaller, shifty wide receivers. I really thought you were going to go with a different one, but maybe you're looking more towards the slot than on the perimeter. So maybe that's why you went that way. But again, I like the player. I think that's a really good fit for him. We'll see what happens on draft day.
Yeah, no, I was looking a little bit of slot. He's shaky. He's going to shift off or shake off some of those, close coverages. He's going to make defenders miss, but he breaks a lot of tackles too, and that's what you need with somebody who's coming across the middle. So if he's going to run those quick routes coming across and need to make somebody miss, that's your guy, Sky Moore. He's gonna blow it up in Kansas City.
All right, Sky Moore to the Kansas City Chiefs. And boy, I it's not where I expected you to go. So I really thought I was going to be taking a wide receiver for Kansas City, and but now I got to change it up a little bit. And I think you know where I'm going here. There's a player that has just screamed Kansas City to me for a long time. I would not be surprised if he actually goes earlier than this on draft day. I just don't know where. That's the problem. I don't know where he goes. But if he's here, I think they jump all over him. I consider him possibly a top 15 player in the draft. He's just a little bit of a tweener. You don't really know what position you want to play him at. But wherever you play him, you're gonna get production. The pick is in. With pick number 30 in the alternating 2022 mock draft, TFP Nation style, the Kansas City Chiefs select Honey Badger replacement for Tyrann Mathieu, Daxton Hill from Michigan, cornerback / safety, defensive back, we'll just say.
Cornerback, safety, defensive back. You never know. He might even play wide receiver at some point. He's just athletic.
He really is, and I said it from the start. He's the Tyrann Mathieu replacement because he's very similar to Tyrann Mathieu in that sense. A lot of people say, well, he's from Michigan. He's a versatile defensive back, kind of like Julius Peppers was. Well, yeah, but Julius Peppers was a versatile in the sense that he played cornerback, safety, and running back. Daxton Hill is a defensive back that can play corner in the slot. He can play safety and be your center fielder. He can come up in the box and be an extra linebacker, even though he's a little smaller. He can shoot the edge and be, like a Jamal Adams style pass rusher from the safety position. I mean, he's just super versatile, and I think he's going to find a home at one of those positions, but they're going to move him all around like a chess piece. Kid's going to be really, really good. It kind of reminds me of how Arizona is trying to use Isaiah Simmons, even though Isaiah Simmons is more of a natural linebacker, but you can use him as a safety and move him around. That's kind of what I see for Daxton Hill.
Yeah, no, I can't deny that one. I like that. You're right though. Like you just look at him, everything he does, he really does just scream Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean it's a, like I said earlier with Linderbaum, and when Hudson moves on, you had that seamless transition. If Mathieu does not come back to the Chiefs, which it's not likely he will, I think Hill is a seamless transition. Maybe a play drops off a little bit because he's young and doesn't have the awareness of a Tyrann Mathieu, but I think he can have that awareness someday.
Absolutely.
So, boy, those were that I got thrown for a loop there. But like I said, Daxton Hill has always screamed Chiefs to me through this whole process. So, pick 31, your last pick, Brandon, your last pick, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Super Bowl runner-up, Joe Burrow's baby Bengals, on the clock at 31. Where are they going?
Well, I just had my pick written down, and then I got thinking about it. And I just erased it. So the Bengals, they're like their biggest offseason additions really have been the offensive line. They have done everything they can to protect Joe Burrow.
Yeah, they brought in 3.
Right.
Lael Collins, Ted Karras, and Alex Kappa.
Exactly. I mean, they brought in some good offensive line, not just, guys that they can throw in there. No, they brought in some like good offensive linemen, and he's gonna be protected. So originally that's where I was gonna go until I really started thinking about it. It's like, I don't think they have to. So with that, they don't really have a whole lot of other needs per se. I mean, they were in the Super Bowl last year, and they got better. They didn't really lose a lot, So I think they have the time to wait. And the pick is in. With all the time to wait for healing, the Cincinnati Bengals select Drake London.
Drake London. Is Drake London still on the board? Oh my God! How did we not take him sooner?
Holy cow! Fractured ankle there.
I mean, looking through the draft, I'm like, how did we not take Drake London already? That is wild to me.
That was the
when you said it, I'm like, he had to have been taken.
No, that's the guy early on when you there's a couple of wide receivers that you took, and I was like, not the guy I probably would have taken there, but
yeah, I mean, I could see him sliding a little bit. He refused to run the 40, which could be a little bit of a red flag for some teams. He's not ultra fast to begin with, and maybe that could be a sign that the ankle isn't fully where it needs to be. But I mean, man, if he is there at 31 for the Bengals, and they can if they can trot out Jamar Chase, they can trot out Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and Drake London, my goodness. Joe Burrow's going to just throw the ball up in the air, and they're going to go play a game of what do you call that? 500 jackpot, yeah, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that's absurd.
If he's there with everything that they brought in for the offseason, I don't see why you wouldn't take a chance on a guy. Even if he isn't fully healthy right now, you don't need him in the lineup at this point.
Well, that's the thing too. I mean, T. Higgins was not a first round pick, so with T. Higgins, he's coming up on the end of his rookie contract, and we're seeing the money that these guys are getting. And Drake London is a very similar player in size, not necessarily speed, but in size. And he's got great hands, wins 50-50, contested catches. And if they are, if they don't want to pay T. Higgins and want to pay somebody else, Drake London would be a perfect replacement.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I just kept seeing his name on there the whole way. And I'm just like, no, I don't see him fall into this team. I don't see him falling here. And then finally it goes to the Bengals. I'm like, who else would have the time to wait on somebody to heal? You know what I mean? Yep. So it's a perfect fit, I think. I don't foresee it happening, to be honest. I think he gets taken a lot earlier.
I do too, and again, that's why I had to double take it at our board and say, "What? How did this guy not get taken yet?" That's why I kind of paused after you said it, because I was like, "Man, how is he still on the board?" That is wild. That is wild. All right. Well, that brings us to the final pick of our alternating mock draft, currently belonging to the Detroit Lions. I part of me kind of thinks that they might move this pick, but we're not trading picks here. So if they stay there, I think this is where you would see Detroit take a quarterback. And the only reason I say that, I don't think they're necessarily looking to take a quarterback early in the draft. I think that they're comfortable enough with Goff, and maybe, looking to the draft next year to try to find a potential replacement for Goff. But if you're sitting at pick 32, you still have that first round, 5th-year option available, right? So if you're going to take your guy, this is where you take him, because you get 5 years to evaluate him, at least 4, and a 5th-year option. So looking at that, I look to the Detroit Lions, and I say the pick is in.
It didn't seem so convincing.
Well, the reason I said that is because I was in my head debating a couple of quarterbacks, but the Detroit Lions, with pick number 32, select quarterback from Ole Miss, Matt Corral.
I think that's a smart pick.
I think about it, and of the guys that are left, we only saw Willis and Pickett come off the board, right? So, you have Corral, you got Howell, and you got Ritter, and those are most people's would consider those the top 5 quarterbacks in the draft. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another guy that sneaks up in there, but of those 5, Matt Corral he's the best processor. So when he's looking out, he gets through his reads quicker. He understands and processes what he's seeing. He's got good feet, has the ability to take off. He's a little undersized, definitely a little bit concerning his durability, and he did get knocked around a little bit and pick up some injuries in college. But I feel like if you can bulk him up a little bit and you can protect him, he's definitely got the best ability as far as adapting to the NFL game. I think his ability to process and get through his reads is really going to push him higher than a couple of these other guys, and that's why I have him going 32.
Yeah, I mean, I can see him transitioning in the NFL fairly well, in like you said, in the words you said, adapting to it pretty well. I don't see Corral being like a top quarterback in this league. I don't see him being a top 10 quarterback in this league. He's that middle of the road kind of guy. I could see him. Well, I don't even want to say that because Tannehill's really turned it around, but I could see him being, similar to like a Ryan Fitzpatrick almost, but maybe staying put as a starter longer and staying with one team. I don't know who I think, but
I think the guy that I would compare him to, he's a little bit more athletic and doesn't have quite the frame, but his ability to process information, his ability to get through reads, and in most cases make the right decision throwing the ball, he reminds me a little bit of Kirk Cousins.
Okay, yeah, Kirk Cousins would be a good one. Yeah, and I think Detroit would definitely take a Kirk Cousins. I don't want to give up on Jared Goff right now because I think he does a good job. So for me at that pick, I'm actually going defense, and I'm going to take Andrew Booth.
And like I said, it was nothing to do with what I think the Lions are going to do there. Like I said, I think they're actually probably probably going to look to trade out. But if they don't, they have pick number 34 as well. They have the second pick in the second round. So if you're going to stay at 32, you have that fifth-year option. If you're going to take your quarterback, take him there.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I like the way you thought about it. I don't dislike it. I think it's a good pick. And if you're going to take a quarterback, it's going to be the third quarterback off the board. I think that's the guy you got to go with. So.
Yeah. So I mean, kind of thinking back, like you said, you would have went defense there. Kind of the way I was thinking with Tampa Bay. You took Trey McBride. In my head, I'm thinking Levante David's in the last year of his deal, and he's about to be 34. I actually think they're going to look to the linebacker position. I know Nakobe Dean went off the board a few picks before them, but again, we'll see what's a priority to them. I just know that Todd Bowles taking over as the head coach. If he has any say in the pick, I think he's gonna want to continue to beef that defense up. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. Well, that does it for our alternating mock draft. Just going to recap the 21 through 32 that we just did. The Patriots took George Karlaftis, edge rusher from Purdue. The Packers took Treylon Burks, wide receiver from Arkansas. Arizona took Tyler Linderbaum, the center from Iowa. We had Nakobe Dean, linebacker from Georgia, went to the Dallas Cowboys. Travis Jones, interior defensive lineman from UConn, went to the Bills. Breece Hall, the running back from Iowa State, went to the Titans. Trey McBride, tight end from Colorado State, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Green Bay Packers, with their second pick at 28, took Kenyon Green, the offensive guard from Texas A&M. Kansas City Chiefs had back-to-back picks, taking Sky Moore, the receiver from Western Michigan, and Kansas City Chiefs also took Daxton Hill, defensive back from Michigan. And the last two picks, the Bengals took Drake London, wide receiver from USC, who I could not believe was still on the board at that point. And the Lions took Matt Corral, the quarterback from Ole Miss. Well, that's going to do it for us, guys. For all of us at the Fantasiders Podcast, we look forward to seeing you on our next regular scheduled podcast. But next Wednesday, like I said, April 27th, join us. Brandon Lee, myself, Goatee Guru, going to take you through our full edition of the draft special. You're not going to want to miss it. Some inside thoughts from yours truly and Brandon Lee to, just give you our vision of what's going to happen, our opinions on some of our draft gems and possible busts, trade scenarios, everything. We'll also have mock drafts from each of us going into the Thursday night's first round. So you won't want to miss it. Join us next week. That's all I've got for you guys. We'll see you soon.
Peace.
Peace. Adios.